Right now in your life, you feel grateful for. Say I.
I.
Take a moment and focus on something you feel grateful for. Be specific for someone else. How do you breathe when you're feeling grateful? If you're filled with gratitude, like almost overwhelming gratitude, what's the look on your face? What's the breath like? What's the feeling like? What are you grateful for with that situation or person? How does it feel when you're really, truly grateful, filled with gratitude and appreciation? I want you to feel it right now in your body. Raise your hand if you can feel it right now in your body. It's there. It is. Say I. Try a different one. I want you to think of a really loving moment with family or friends. A moment you shared with family or friends that was really special for you. It could have been a playful moment, it could be a sacred moment, family or friends. One that was really special to you. Let me remember a moment like this. Step in that moment like you're there. Like look at it as if you were there in your own body, back in the moment. How do you breathe when you feel most special? Raise your hand if you can feel these feelings right now in your body. If they're there, say yes.
Yes.
Let's try a totally different one. Do you ever have something happen that was so, do you ever say something or do something that was so stupid or silly that you did or someone else did that you weren't supposed to laugh and you couldn't hold it back? Do you ever laugh so hard shit came out your nose in the wrong moments? I think I remember a time when you laughed out loud so hard you couldn't stop laughing, or you started coughing and you were laughing so hard. How many remember a time like this? I want you to just for a moment, remember a time when someone did something, someone else or you did something that was so stupid, so silly, that you just started laughing and couldn't stop laughing. How do you remember a time like that? How do you breathe when you laugh out loud like that? What's the look on your face when you laugh out loud? What's the breathing like? What's the feeling like? And then now, I'd like to try something. I want you to turn something in your body, and I want you to point at him, and if you need to, just fake laugh, or just laugh your ass off. Just point something at That's called priming the pump. See, in the old days, if you were a well and you need water, you had to give a little water to the pump for it to create enough suction to get into the well. Some of you need to give it a little suction. If you put yourself in that state for a few moments, the real laughter will come. And if you practice it, could you train yourself where real laughter came easily and consistently, yes or no?
Yes.
Would that be better than being pissed off easily and consistently?
Yes.
Did you have a better life, yes or no?
Yes.
Did you train yourself to do it, yes or no?
Yes.
You understand physiology and focus will be easily. Let's try one more. I want you to think now of the time of your life, one of the most of your life.
Oh my gosh.
Keep it to yourself, sir. Keep it to yourself. I know you got many, pick only one. Only one.
Oh my gosh.
How many can think of a moment, a special, romantic, sexy, essential moment? If you don't have one, make one like that, right?
Oh my gosh.
Take a moment like now, remember that moment like you're back in the moment. Step yourself back in that moment.
Oh my gosh.
I think that was a kiss gift. You missed one.
Oh my gosh.
I want you to remember a time. And I want you to keep it inside. I want you to breathe the way you're breathing in, near the peak. That's all.
Too
What's the
much.
look on your face near the peak? How are you breathing near the peak?
Oh my gosh.
Did you make sounds near the peak?
Oh God.
Were you religious? Oh God, or demanding, get me more!
Oh my gosh. Are you
Remember a time,
kidding
raise
me?
your hand. How many can feel in your body right now? I'm curious. Some of you are like, I can't do this shit. I can be depressed in public, but I can't feel good like this. Let's do one last one. If you really wanted to feel excited, how many of you have something that if you focused on it right now, something that's in your life today, that you can be excited about if you just focused on it? How many can think of something that could really excite you if you focused on it?
Woo!
Think of that moment, think of that situation that excites you. How do you breathe when you're really excited?
Woo!
What's the look on your face when you're really excited?
Woo!
What's the sound you make when you're really excited?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Woo! Yes! Just by changing the focus, you change your state. How many experience in here? Say ah. Aye.
If you change your focus and your physiology, you'll feel completely different. By the way, how fast can you change your state? How fast? How fast?
Fast.
In a heartbeat.
Yes.
By a radical change in physiology or focus. Tonight, the firewalk will give you that chance because most of you walk in altered states. In order to get yourself to take action, you have to change states. How many follow here? Say aye.
Aye.
Now, I want to shift gears. I want to take you through a way of focusing so that we really get the most out of the next few days. And I'm going to give you an insight that if you just choose to apply it tonight, you can leave the rest of the seminar and your whole life will change. There are going to be multiple things like this over the next few days. This one is so freaking simple. Simple, not easy. But it was easy, everybody do it, and everybody have a great life. But it's simple, which means we can do it if we have enough energy and focus to do so. So let me start with this. I asked you earlier why you came here. You all have different ideas in your mind. Want to make more money, grow your business, want to lose weight, want to have more intimate relationship, more passion, more energy, more confidence. All come from a variety of reasons. But I would argue, you tell me if I'm wrong, the only reason you want these things is you think if you get these things, that additional money, that breakthrough in your business, that change in your body, that relationship, you think your life, the quality of your life will be greater. How many really came because you want an even greater quality of life, even though you have a good life already? How many want greater quality of life? Say ah. How many want more? More love, more joy, more passion, more freedom, more? Say ah.
Aye.
greatest achievers and some of the most challenging people on earth. True. What's the common denominator of people the most successful on earth? Hunger. A hunger that doesn't go away. Some people get hungry and lose weight to make it to the party, but it's just contextual to the moment. Real hunger is someone who will not settle for less than they can do, or be, or share, or create, or give. If you see somebody like Richard Branson's a friend of mine, Sir Richard now, okay? Richard is as hungry and driven today as when he was 14 years old, 15 and 16, starting Virgin. As much drive today as he got then, that's why he is who he is. Mark Benioff of Salesforce.com, one of my dear friends, unbelievable force of nature, unbelievably driven. I go over and over and over, the greatest athletes, they're driven. It doesn't matter who it is. That drive is what sets them apart, that hunger. And the one thing you have, you're sitting in a chair here, is you got that hunger. With that, you can convert that to a lot of things in your life. Hunger is the core base of it all. Intelligence is invaluable. I love wickedly intelligent people. But how many know a very intelligent person that can't fight the way out of a paper bag from a practical perspective here? Say I. There are people less intelligent that will produce at a higher level. There are people less skilled that perform at a higher level because they're more hungry. So if you got that, you can convert anything else that you really want. But you also need clarity as to what you want. Because more people are focused on what they don't want. And wherever focus goes, energy what? Flows. So we got to direct that flow of energy, or we're not going to get where we want to go. So here's what I'd like to do before we do anything else. I'm going to put some questions on the board for you in a moment. I'm going to ask you to keep yourself in a strong state. You're going to sit up in your chair, strong, feeling strong while you're writing. Because some people, when they write, they drop their shoulders, they stop breathing. It makes writing kind of stressful. So go lie in your chair. And here's what we're going to do. Let's get clear. What does an extraordinary life look like for you at the next level? Now let me explain what I mean. Extraordinary life is not my life, it's not your life, it's what the life you want. I don't pretend my life should be for you or yours should be for you. Here's my definition of extraordinary life. Life on your terms. Like if life was on your terms, if you were to go to the next level, now hear me on this, not the biggest level that you'll get in 10 or 20 years. I know you'll get there. I'm asking, if you were going to have a huge change in the quality of your life in the next 90, 60, say 90 days, 6 months, 1 year max. If you were going to make some changes in the next 90 days, 6 months, or 1 year, that would radically improve the quality of your life, what would you change? In other words, what does an extraordinary life look like for you at the next level? Not the ultimate level, you hear me now? Because I tell most people, in my own life, I know early on, I look at where I am today and where I was then. People see me today and go, oh my God, what did you do? It's bullshit. You didn't see how I started. I'm 42 years ago. Right? Some of you are 40 years old. That's the one that are doing this. So some people, by the way, go, I have 10 years of experience, and what you really have is 1 year of experience they did 9 times. 1 year they grew, they did the same shit for 9 more years. So I don't care how many years of experience, I want to know how much people have grown. But my point is, I want to know not where you're going to be 10, 20 years from now, because most people overestimate what they're going to do in a year, and they underestimate what they can do in a decade, or 2 or 3 or 4. By the way, how fast is time going for you these days? How many feel like time is going much faster than any time you can remember in your life? And by the way, as you get older, it feels even faster. It's not faster, but it feels that way. You know why? Because somebody once said, middle age is when you start realizing there may be more days behind you than ahead of you. A dear friend of mine the other day said, I'm going to be 60 in a couple months. I can't even believe it. I was like 25 just yesterday. And he said to me, he goes, hey, you're going to be 60. I said, yeah, halfway there. He goes, what, halfway there? Most people live to 75. You got 15 years left. Oh, you're really fucking helpful. The point though is, I want to know what you can do in the next 6, 12 months, maybe 90 days, whichever you prefer, but I want, what would you change? What would you improve? What would an extraordinary life look like for you? What would life on your terms look like? What would you change? What would you improve? What would you shift? And I want you to be specific. Not, I'll make more money. Fine, here's the dollar, get the fuck out of here. You got more money. If you're that general, you're not going to get what you want. I want you to be specific. What would you change in your body, or your relationships, or your business, or your finances? What would you make happen? What would be really important for you to change to get the quality of life that you really want and that you really deserve? So I'm going to ask you to write a few sentences or paragraph. It doesn't need to be perfect, but you want to make it compelling. Like, what do I really want? What would excite me if I could achieve in the next 90 days, 6 months, or a year max? What would excite you? If I could make that shit happen, and write something you know you could make happen if you're focused, not some pie in this blind bullshit you don't believe. Because you've never done this, you ever said, I'm gonna do this giant goal, and this little voice in your head goes, who are you kidding? I want you to pick something that you know with certainty you can achieve if you focused on it. So I want you to describe, what would you change? What would you improve? What would you transform? What would you let go of? What would you feel more? Would you be more happy? Would you be more playful? Would you be more grateful? Would you be more loving? Okay, so that's the first question. The second question is going to be, what's preventing you from making that happen in the past? So you tell me what you want, I want to know what's gotten in the way. And you'll discover it's usually an emotion, like frustration or stress, or worry, or overwhelm, or it's a habit, right? It can be a habit like a belief, like it won't work anyway. Or if I succeed, people are just going to judge me, so why try? Or, you know, the economy's going great, but we're destroying our environment, so who gives a shit? Those kinds of beliefs. So what got in the way in the past? Because we know what it is, we know what to change. So are there some habits you need to get rid of? Are there some skills you're missing? Is there some emotional pattern that needs to shift, getting frustrated too easily? Right? What is it? Is there a belief you need to get rid of? So what's preventing you from making it happen in the past? And then the third question is pretty obvious, which is, what needs to shift now? What action can you take to change it now? What are you going to do to change it now? I want you to answer those three questions in writing. And if you get all three of those questions, then there'll be a fourth question that's an option for you to get there. And that is, I want you to think of what are the two most stressful thoughts that you consistently show up in your life. What triggers them? What makes you feel to do that? So for example, I'm not talking about thought that once a year. I'm talking about you think regularly when you focus on it, it stresses you out. Remember I said earlier, we're the only creatures on the planet that think a thought and get angry, think another thought and get excited, think another thought and get worried, think another thought and get determined. So what's the thought that stresses you out that shows up regularly? Not once a month, at least once a week, or many of you maybe more than once a day. It could be a thought about your business, or cash flow, or your kids, or your own body, or your relationship, or your lack of relationship. It could be about anything, but what's a consistent thought that when you focus on it, it stresses you out, so you don't have to think about it, but it keeps showing up. And you can come up with two great. The first three I'm going to ask all of you to do. If you're ahead of everybody else and you're not, don't just sit there, go for the fourth question. Here we go, maestro.